anymore. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, I think they took those out actually. So
We're
hello
actually
everybody. Sorry,
we're live, so
we're mid conversation, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Google got rid of the little lower thirds here, so I can't have my cool.
yeah, I know that was totally awesome. I had a little headline and everything, but
Yeah,
I think
like
people
a
are
real
watching us.
newscaster.
Did you say you put a tweet out?
I put a tweet out. Go ahead and retweet that. Hopefully, we'll get some viewers on here. So, yeah, welcome everybody to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk, episode 47. I'll try to look at the camera. It's hard to do, and all this stuff here. My name is William Kehl from Coinigy.com. Per usual, we have Brian Beamish, the Rational Investor, joining us.
Hey,
Hey, Brian. Alex Sterk from Block Talk, and Ubic. Ubic or Ubic? What's the official pronunciation?
Ubic? I didn't know there was more than one way.
Well, it could be Ubic or it could be Ubic, like YouTube.
I think, more you sounding.
More you. Okay, cool. Gotcha. And, well, we had to, it's just nice to know those things, so.
I'm not offended either way.
Okay, good. Yeah, I didn't mean it in an offensive way, Alex. So. And then, as has been kind of a somewhat regular guest lately, we have Steve Anderson from the Coinigy team, fresh off several hours of back-end training today, and I'm sure his mind is a little rattled, but it can be a little bit of a doozy. How's it going today, Steve? Other than
my mind is always a bit rattled, but
I'm gonna fill up my coffee. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll just stop the show for you, Brian.
That's the show without Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I feel naked now. But so we got some good news recently. Somebody told me apparently Bitcoin's like gone up or something lately. I don't know if you guys have heard that.
Yeah, I thought I heard stirrings of something along those lines. Yeah, I think it's up a bit.
Yeah. So obviously, if you've been living seriously under a rock, Bitcoin hit all-time high. What was it, last week sometime? I don't remember the specific day. And it's been really interesting. People have been going crazy. I think I got about 30 notifications from various channels and chats, and everybody telling me like the second it surpassed the all-time high. And then the other half of people were saying it's not really the all-time high because it's not inflation adjusted. So then the next day we hit the inflation adjusted all-time high, which was like 1206 or something like that. So pretty interesting couple weeks.
And the monthly candle has closed above the old high. So yeah, very exciting. We've kind of locked in that price. It's not just that short-term bump up. It's we're hanging out here now, guys. This is like a new paradigm. Just chilling at these levels.
Yeah.
When was the last time it was below 1,000? It's been a while now, I think. Let's see.
Probably got to pull a chart up, I'm guessing.
February 8th is what I'm seeing on Finex.
Yep, looks like it. Something like that.
There was that crash on the 7th.
February 15th.
About 3 weeks.
On Bitstamp, it looks like. So yeah,
That's
interesting.
I think.
15 days above 1,000, you can consider that a trend. So.
And we got like another week and a half before the ETF gets the final word, I guess. So I think lots of people are buzzing on that. I think that prediction market is up to like 50% again. I think it peaked at about 70 recently.
On Augur?
The BitMEX one.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, forgot we talked about that last time. So it's up over 50 now, huh? Crazy.
Yeah, so I think people are getting pretty excited. But yeah, I'm definitely starting to see it getting priced in now. That's, I think, kind of the movement that we're having right now is definitely pricing in this event like hardcore. So even if it gets passed or failed, I think we're going to see a lot of correction as a result of finding out this news. It just kind of seems to be fitting right now.
Yeah, cool stuff. Should be interesting to see. What are your thoughts on it, Brian? Have your thoughts changed with regards to the ETF percentage of it passing?
I get the feeling. I don't see any reason why it won't be passed. I think, if we had some sort of horrific scandal, a big hack or something in the next week or two, that might derail it. Coming up into some interesting technical levels here, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of back and forth. But if anything, this feels like a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of scenario. The sad part about it, of course, is, the guys that are doing the IPO for the coin. What's really interesting is if you look at something like a GBTC, and it's a really good sort of example of what happens if you don't have a big board listing. They can really mess around with the price. You guys remember how they took that GBTC up to like $1,500 or something like that? But what was really interesting about that is that they left a gap on that chart right at $1,400. And, old adage, gaps like to be filled in, that kind of stuff. And you can see on the GBTC, they took away that sort of fluff premium. So in a weird sort of way, it's almost telling you that it needs to go to that 1,400 to sort of finish this move. And then if you look at a bunch of technical levels on the price charts, 1,400 jumps out quite a bit. So, I wouldn't be surprised if, and usually we used to always say Bitcoin can't end a move without some sort of just horrendous face rip, right? It's just, whether it be a bull move, right, just face rip straight up, or a bear move, face rip straight down, Bitcoin usually needs to finish its move with some sort of, colossal blow off top. So that's probably what I'm looking for. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. And then, of course, on the rags and stuff, when this thing is listed, the Winkle Dinkles, we're going to see them front page of every newspaper and all that kind of crap, right? And that's going to be an end of the event kind of move, not the beginning of a move, eh?
Interesting. Yeah. See, I mean, I'm personally looking forward to that day when it's all over the news and, my grandparents are calling me.
Yeah.
Hey, aren't you involved in this stuff? Because it really hasn't happened yet. Still, Joe
for a guy like
still
you,
doesn't know what
though,
the heck they're talking about. So,
yeah, I think for a guy like you and your organization, you're probably going to see a peak in interest and a peak in site subscribers and all that kind of stuff into that event. That wouldn't surprise me at all. So it'd be really interesting to actually see sort of the trend in your sort of user data and to see whether that correlates with the Bitcoin price. I bet it does.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's something that we haven't even analyzed, but we've thought about it, just seeing, as far as site activity, obviously no kind of like personally identifying stuff, but basically metadata, just to see how many markets are active, how many users are active at any given time versus the price. That definitely would be interesting.
I used to work
we have the data. It's just a matter of getting in there.
Yeah, I used to work for a prop firm. And they ran a whole order entry system on the back end before your orders actually hit the market. So they knew where everybody's stops was. They knew where everybody's orders were. They knew what markets people were interested in, were following and stuff. And I think that gave the prop firms, the management of the firm, some insight into the market that is just not available to the public. So if you guys ever do get around to mining that data, holy shit, that would be powerful stuff.
Right on.
Anyway, sorry, I did a little swear there. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. We're going to watch that, Brian, I tell you.
But anyway, it's all good. I mean, like they say, make hay while the sun's shining. The sun's shining. Enjoy the weather. If you bought off the bottom where, investors got their signal back, geez, I remember we had a most beautiful breakout at about $300. I think investors, if you wanted to be invested in Bitcoin, that's where you should be long from. And you should just be spoon feeding the market coin as we work our way higher here. fact, I think actually 1,200, that would be the second sell half on a double level on Bitcoin, wouldn't it? Off of that 300 level.
If you're a little old lady, I guess,
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, you use the little old lady analogy, but when I was a broker, it didn't really matter. It could be doctors, lawyers, accountants, little old ladies, tennis pros. It doesn't really matter. It's just people that aren't like, I mean, we get a little bit in the crypto community, and frankly, I don't even know what the audience of this video is, but I have a lot of people that come to me that watch this show that want to learn how to build little old lady portfolios so that they can go about their regular lives. And they're not watching the screen like 24/7 like us.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a hands-off approach that works very well, like consistently. And like I got burned by not using it today with Dash because I sold before we broke out the all-time high. And now I would have hit another double today if I hadn't done that. So I had no coins left to spoon feed to the market.
Oh boy! And did you see my? And everybody watching this video, I should probably find that tweet. Like I did a. Have you guys ever heard me talk about the parking garage?
Oh yeah.
If you can think about the way price moves, price usually moves in very sort of constructive levels. And then think of a parking garage. I think in the tweet I said, or you could call it a department store. It doesn't really matter. And the next level on Dash, I cheekily named like women's lingerie, and everybody on Twitter loved that one. They were like, "Oh, that's fucking awesome, man! We're going to women's lingerie, woohoo!" I thought that was great. But I know I apologize if there is a female audience watching. The men's lingerie department, you can call it that. Is there such a thing as men's lingerie? I don't even know.
I don't know, Alex. Is there?
Alex would know.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of shopping for banana hammocks, so it's
banana hammocks. Oh, I like that one. Banana benders. That's what we used to call them when we were kids. Anyway. All right, not quite sure how we got down on this vein.
Oh yeah, let's jump in. Let's dive in.
Actually, what's interesting is we can do a lot of parallels with what we see in Dash and what we see in Bitcoin right now. There's a lot of parallels. So, what do we want to do? Do we want to talk about what I guess our ETF talk? The audience should be aware too that the Winklevoss ETF is not sort of a lone issue that's going on here. There are, in my opinion, actually, and if you look on my Twitter feed, if you want to follow me at CR Investor, I think is the name. I actually was tweeting out recently, I saw that there's a big derivatives exchange that wants to get going. And that actually got me really interested because finally we're going to get options on Bitcoin. That's
so you're not talking about crypto securities, are you? Or crypto facilities? Is that this is something new? This is like an official registered derivatives exchange?
Here it is here. What do they call this thing? And I'll share my screen.
Because I know crypto facilities has been around for a while, but I don't know if that's...
These guys. What to expect from the Ledgro?
Oh, LedgerX.
Physically settled Bitcoin options. This is what I'm really interested in because once we get options data on Bitcoin, I absolutely believe a lot of the volatility is going to come out of this market. And then as professionals, we can start analyzing the options and derivatives data to really get a feel for where the smart money is long and short and where, hedgers are actually really active. Something that I've been very upset with this quote unquote unregulated marketplace is the ability for these exchanges to really mess around with the retail public. So I can't wait for this. This is the kind of thing that I'm super excited about. But the point that I just wanted to make was that we have a number of these all hitting the market. And, whether it be the Winklevoss ETF, whether it be these derivative exchanges, I think there's actually another ETF floating around there that's going to be listed as well. the long and short of it here is, we're getting a lot of stuff's hitting the market here relatively soon. So it kind of makes sense that we're sort of building into a crescendo here.
Good.
All right, that's my spiel. Sorry, didn't mean to go off on a tangent there.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention too, without going too far off of a tangent, I'm hearing an echo for some reason. And Steve actually brought this to my attention the other day, was Ethereum Enterprise.
Yeah.
Whatever the heck it's called. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. But basically, Ethereum launched kind of a partnership with a bunch of, Fortune 500s, and they're trying to get everybody, I don't know everything about it. I think Steve actually probably knows a little more. I don't know if you want to chime in on that.
I don't know everything about I think it's called the Ethereum Enterprise. Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, and a large number of companies. Some of them that had recently dropped out of what was it, R3 CEV.
Okay.
We're kind of building a way to. One of the problems with blockchains right now is you can't really have separate private data that corresponds with the blockchain. So what they're doing is they're kind of building this separate enterprise version of Ethereum that's like dual, where it has payloads that they send along with the regular Ethereum. So they have their private chain right in the same client as the Ethereum public chain. So they're kind of marrying these two chains together, and it looks like pretty exciting stuff as far as what can be done. It's a lot of these companies are putting their entire weight behind this new blockchain that they built.
Interesting. So do you know if it's going to be like another fork of Ethereum or something, or
as far as I understand it, and stuff can change all the time, it's just that they'll still have the Ethereum, not Ethereum Classic, but regular Ethereum in combined or packaged with their private chain. So
gotcha.
It's just one group. So you can kind of like, they showed the demo of a title with Chronicled. So I think Alex Sterk had on Chronicled 2 weeks ago on his show, or maybe 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah, they showed a way to have it so some information of like a title is hidden from the public market, but regulators could see it, and the parties that are involved could see the information. And so that way you have like this hybrid of public and private information, and it's all on the same Ethereum Enterprise chain. So I thought it was really, really cool. Really, really exciting stuff. I don't know, much more than that.
The way I understood it too, it sounded similar to like a side chain for Ethereum, but like it was private and permissioned. So yeah, like you can have a lot of the data coming off on the side. So I don't know if it's actually going to be like proof of work mining, or if it's going to be like proof of stake, or if it still relies on the public network to like secure it. So there's a lot of questions still to be added, but it sounds cool, I think, in terms of like moving forward with interoperability. Like, how can Ethereum interact with other Ethereum chains? So like Ethereum Classic or even Ubiq can have these interactions as well. So it just kind of goes to show the long-term plan for the Ethereum technology is kind of like an internet of blockchains. Like how can all these blockchains interact?
So actually, that you just mentioned that, because me, trader, don't understand the nuts and bolts. What's happened with this Ethereum and Ethereum Classic and forking and the DAO and all that? I mean, what's happened with all this?
I'd say the dust is pretty well settled on the DAO. In terms of Ethereum Classic, it's pretty much had a straight downtrend since what's his name, Barry Silbert announced he was going to do an ETF for Ethereum Classic. And then I think his lawyers told him to stop tweeting about it because he wasn't going to get passed if he was, Twitter pumping it. So after that kind of solidified that he couldn't talk about it in public anymore, basically it's gone downhill. And now there's 2 development teams that are arguing on where Ethereum Classic should go. So I find that even more hilarious. Of like, it sounds like there's fractals within their community. Because there's one development group that wants to fork Classic to include like a mining reward for the developers. And then there's another one that wants to be like a nonprofit and has a bunch of other plans. So it's just hilarious that there's like these 2 teams that can't even communicate now. So it really goes to show that sometimes, a little leadership isn't the worst thing. I understand, centralization of power, but yeah.
Yeah, having decentralization is good, but only when 51% of those people can agree on a common route.
Yeah, exactly.
And I find it kind of amusing, and it's just me as a side guy. Somebody put out a tweet the other day, and correct me if I'm wrong. I always get his name wrong. Vitalik, is that his name?
Yeah.
That's right.
Right? All right. He's the only like billionaire guy in the world that you see, maybe a multimillionaire, who knows, that still looks like a crack addict. Which I thought was hilarious. I mean, is he basically in control of ETH? Is he like at the helm? Is that how this is going to play out?
I would say he's one of the thought leaders. I wouldn't say he has sole control of it, but he definitely has a lot of influence over it. Like
was it, and is it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Mr. Silbert and Mr. Vitalik? They went at loggerheads, and that's why there was the fork.
I think it was more just like Vitalik said he wasn't going to support Ethereum Classic. Like, Ethereum, the ETH is the one I'm going to support. I'm happy the other chain is still around. Like, if people want to work with that one, they're more than welcome to. But all of my focus is only on Ethereum. And then he, I guess, dumped all his Ethereum Classic.
And so, and your coin, UBQ, that's directly tied in with ETH?
No. Like, we just use similar technology that we can interact with them. So any technology or services that are built for Ethereum can easily integrate with Ubiq, because we follow like the same core protocol or whatever. Like, so when you start thinking about how these chains can interact, because smart contracts allow you to actually have cross-chain talking, and things can transfer from one chain to another. Ubiq has all those capabilities as well. So that was one of the reasons we went with the Ethereum code base, was the interoperability opportunities.
All right, I'm still learning. It'll take me a while to get my head around all this.
Well, hey, we should jump into some charts, I'm thinking.
Oh yeah.
At some point here, hey?
Okay, sorry. I don't mind actually using you guys as a learning tool.
No, I like this part. I just, for some reason, I feel like people want us to get into some charts at some point. So
Okay.
better now than never.
Okay, so where do we want to begin?
Well, I can.
Do we want to wheel it? Do we want to Brian's 2 cents on Bitcoin? What do we want to do?
Well, okay, let's look at Dash. I'm just curious. It was requested by a ton of people. Then we can go to the wheel.
Okay.
Yeah, I just put this tweet out earlier today, so we might as well just work off of this rather than starting up a new one. Parking garage. I'm a big fan of things like extensions to sort of give us an idea of levels and sort of target zones. I suppose one could argue here, we could probably put the whole darn thing on here. Why don't we leave 113? All right. So, if you were going to come up with levels for, long and short of it here, ranging market state, rallies against highs. Historically, I don't know whether the audience is aware or not, but usually 70 to 80% of the time, the market likes to range, and 20 to 30% of the time, it likes to trend. Here's, I think, a fantastic example of a ranging market. And on repeated occasions, every time the market worked its way up to the top end of the range, supply would come out and whack it back down. Gets back down to the bottom end of the range, demand would come out, and it would put in a bottom and rally. You know, we could argue we can do almost exactly the same conversation on Bitcoin right now off of the 2013 peak. Ironically enough, actually, Bitcoin's trading range wasn't nearly as well established as this one. This, when I look at this just at first blush, this to me is a very well explored, very well established trading range. And my hunch is, and this is what I was sort of telling my audience earlier today, is usually what ends up happening is previous resistance, if the market can accept above it, and I don't see any reason why we're not accepting above it right now, you know, a nice solid close on this weekly candle, you know, constructive action above here will definitely validate that. But in essence, I think what's going to happen here is basically what was resistance is now going to act as support. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised. We might even get some really cute long setups as the market comes down and sort of brushes with this old historic high and validates that level. So keep your eyes open. I don't think it's a good idea to be chasing Dash up in here. And of course, if you bought down where we were buying, and there was one gentleman in particular, I just have to have a specific shout out. Yes, indeed, I do eat my own cooking. And yes, indeed, I was buying Dash, and I bought a nice chunk of it last fall when it came down into our buy zone. So long and short of that, that's basically what this setup is here. You know, by all means, there's nothing wrong with spoon feeding coins, as Alex said. Maybe don't sell all of your stash. Just who knows where the hell this damn thing will go. Get yourself into a free position, risk-free as quickly as possible. It's not a bad idea to pay yourself a little bit for your hard effort. But, you know, in this kind of crazy markets, you know, the original projection level that I put, and I thought it was really amusing. At this level here on Dash, the coin's market cap was like 192 million. And I had just simply said, talking parking garage, department store kind of conversation, what would the actual parking garage levels actually look like if we worked our way higher? Here's 200%. And probably like you've seen on a lot of my Bitcoin charts, and we'll look at that in a moment, usually the 1618 to 200% is going to act as a bit of resistance. And my hunch is this guy's probably going to work his way up into there. But, you know, if we accept there, you can literally see the parking garage kind of philosophy. And like I said, this is a very, very well-established range. These guys have done a very good job. I mean, what the hell? They've got a spokesperson that everybody knows. I mean, that's what you want to do. If you're in the marketing game, you want a name where everybody's like, where's Amanda going to take us next kind of idea. Everybody loves Amanda, right? I'm very impressed with the job that these guys have done. They have basically, you know, this reminds me of the IOC guys. Remember the IOC story? Same sort of thing. When we looked at the chart of IOC, remember I used to put that up all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Just as a good demonstration of what good stories look like. Well, same sort of thing here. Show me higher highs and higher lows. That's basically a definition of a bull market. Do we blast off through 200% here right away? My hunch is probably no. I wouldn't even be surprised if we had, like I said, come back and kiss the old top of the parking garage level. I would consider this the basement. We're now into sort of the first floor, and the tweet I put out things like women, household goods, right? Automotive parts, right? And then household appliances, and then up top is, you know, the women's wear, blah, blah, blah. So I wouldn't be surprised, you know, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if we have to go through a consolidation period in this level, this second level of the parking store for quite a while. If you're going to use, you know, everybody watching is like, okay, well, what should be the levels I should be watching for? Really keep an eye out for this 200% extension. And this is 1.618, very popular number in mathematics. It's called the golden ratio. Markets love to race up to the golden ratio. So if I was going to have a target window, basically my target window right now is, what is that, 0.46 there? Area up to 0.65 area, somewhere up in that area. That's basically what that would be my aggressive objective. I look at the internals, and like I said, we had the most beautiful bullish divergence set this trade up. As long as we keep seeing more buyers show up, just don't get in the way of this thing. It'll run you over. And I really like what I'm seeing here. OBV is very, very positive. Again, I wouldn't be in a big hurry to be a massive seller or even short this thing. You might just get your face ripped off.
Yeah, I heard someone earlier today shorting it, and I thought, man, you're just going to be fuel for this to go even higher. Like, getting margin called on a short is basically just forcing it higher. So they're willing to push it to that level.
Yeah, and also too, now we have to start thinking, because these are listed on these various exchanges, right? I think some of these exchanges, they set up the margin almost like as a trap. And then the market sort of sees where all these margin players are going to get liquidated in mass, and the market almost moves right towards that level as a magnet.
Oh, exactly.
I can understand 127.2 is a very popular fib level. I wouldn't be surprised, like we said, we are seeing a bit of traffic in here, and I think Will said he let some go up in here. That's very natural. I wouldn't be surprised to see some backfilling and back and forth as we work our way up here. Do I actually have the balls to go and actually recommend people to short this in here? I don't think that's a good idea at all. All right, so that's basic. And, very simply put, guys, this is a market that's transitioned from a range market to a trending market. And in essence, higher highs and higher lows defines a bull market. This is a bull trend. And I think you just got to leave it at that. Right? If you're thinking about buying, I think what you have to do is you got to wait for reload zones. You got to be damn patient. And you just got to let this play itself out. I don't think it's a good idea for investors to go chase this here, because it could be very volatile in here. Okay, I've said everything I wanted to say about Dash.
Pretty good.
Okay.
So it's going up to 200%. We got the gist.
I like this. I like this idea up in here. I think that's perfectly realistic.
You had it labeled Amanda's Penthouse, and you didn't.
Yeah, we were waiting. You kind of glossed over that one.
That was a cheeky joke I put out. But we're not supposed to be that in fact, right? I'm actually surprised I still had that on my chart. So sorry, female watchers. No insult intended.
Well, a penthouse is just a room on the top of a building, Brian. There's nothing bad about it. So.
Okay, cool.
It's very egalitarian of you to suggest that she would have her own penthouse.
There you go. That's right. This is her party pad, right?
Oh yeah.
That's
all
cool.
Right.
All right. Yeah, let's get moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, so I'm gonna spin the wheel here, and we'll see what we end up with for our next choice of markets.
You got to have fun with this, right?
Ooh, nice.
Ooh, sis.
Sis.
What's the sis team been up to, Alex? You heard anything from them lately?
They're kind of keen to get on the show again, so I think they are kind of polishing off their marketplace in their wallet. And the end of last year, they announced they had what's it called? Created like a corporation for their development team. So. Nice. They kind of have like a funding vehicle now outside of cryptocurrency terms of actually like
outside of ICOs and
whatnot. A little more legitimacy,
Yeah.
Well, 10 years from now, the ICO will be the only legitimate way to raise money. So
they'll be
or just crowdfunding with coins, not necessarily an ICO.
But. Yeah.
I think honestly, the way I look at this guy, right? I mean, we can see the old market structure bottom. It was down in here, right? There's the W, boom, 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 there, right? You can see, in fact, kind of like what I'm talking about Dash, right? You're going to get a big initial burst. Do you see how it came down and it kissed this original breakout level here?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same sort of thing out of Dash, right? Big run up and then kick back to the original breakout level and sort of stair step your way higher. Could easily see that. And ironically enough, this is actually really similar kind of story, right? If we just simply take the bottom end of the range, the top end of the range, there's the second floor, right? That's kind of what we're shooting for Dash right now. Third floor, fourth floor, right? You can see the parking garage kind of concept here. This one, hell, they went all the way up to the 10th floor, right? Mm-hmm. I don't like when markets move too far, too fast. And this is a little bit bothersome. They came out with a latest rendition of their wallets or, their operating system through here. And I remember putting out tweets and saying, they're the nicest guys. I really like watching the interview with the team on your show, Alex. They're like super, super nice people. Mm-hmm. And I think they have the best intentions. The problem is that doesn't necessarily translate into capital gains. I guess the way I look at this is I'm a little worried. I've been looking at this, and I have been taking little nibbles off the bottom end of the range here, but I'm worried about this air pocket. This kind of bothers me. The more and more I look at this chart, the more this air pocket worries me. So I don't think you're buying in off the base. And, if you were interested in buying into CIS, I think you got to see a little bit more anecdotal evidence that there is a serious bottom coming in here, because we're flirting with dangerous levels here, right? If this really was a bull, this should not have been broken here. Now, you sort of say, okay, well, maybe that was a polo liquidity push or whatever, and yeah, it did turn and bottom in here. Okay, so we're relatively good, but boom, here we are right back at these levels again. I'm worried that if we lose these levels, you might just see a big sort of flush right down into these levels down in here. So be careful, guys. This isn't a no-brainer. There's a bit of risk involved in taking a shot here. You want to keep it really, really simple. Let's just give me a nice W forming in here. It's trying to. Trend followers kind of idea. You can see the W that they really tried to put in. It worked its way up. I don't know whether you got a double off here. I doubt it, though. What number does that say? 900, and they took it up to 1500. So we weren't even able to get a double out of this. Right back down against these levels. You can see, man, there is one hell of a fight here. I suppose, those, lower time frame traders, guys that, if we do break these lows, they'll just get the frick out of there. We could probably see like little intraday day trade kind of setups. Yeah, you can see it. RLZs off of this range down into here. Really hunt this window, right? What a coincidence. You see that window? Actually, we're just starting to come into the window now too, eh? Do we have any gaps or anything to be cognizant of here? You can see the railroad tracks reversal low here. That looks like a pretty solid level. Uh-oh. Do you guys see that little gap right in there?
Then another one up. Yep.
Right there. Right. So that, if anything, if you're trading this and you're looking at the 15-minute hourly charts, that's got to jump out at you as a huge area right in there. In fact, is this the one that you were just referring to there a moment ago, Will? Right, so you can see how the market came down, doosh, 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 right, and is filling that in right now. So let's see how she acts against this low. If I was going to be working stink bids, I really don't like the look of this tail here. That's a little disturbing. But, if I was going to take a shot against these lows, definitely start, get your spidey senses all active right in this little gap right in here. And, of course, that's comfortably within that reload zone. I could understand, working. It's interesting if you go look at the order book, see what, if there are any notches in the order book against all these levels in here, right? And that'll sort of tell you that they're building in supports against all these lows. So start your, if you are interested in trading this, start your analysis at, what the hell number does that say? Jesus, I'm getting old. Is Does that say 843? I can't even see.
843. Yes.
Yeah. So start your analysis there, and then really watch candle patterns, divergences, momentum signals, all through this area, structure, M's and W's, heads and shoulders, triangles, yada, yada, yada. All right. So there's my 2 cents on CIS.
Cool. Yeah, I know. Just to back it up a little bit too, I mean, when Rob and I kind of watched Syscoin's presentations and stuff, we were really impressed. So, I mean, they definitely do have something going for them there.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully
Well,
it comes together for them.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Dash, how do you define?
They're not selling any water teepees, so.
Hey, we haven't talked about water teepees in forever, eh? But, really the question ultimately here is, are these lows going to hold, right? That's your big battle point. Do these lows hold? And if they don't, you better get the hell out of there if you're trading on leverage or margin.
Yeah, I hope the best for these guys. I'll have to see about getting them on the show in the near future here to find out what exactly is happening in the current term. But I look forward to it because those guys work really hard and they deserve success.
Yeah, I think I even put a tweet out. I said, man, I'm rooting for these guys, right? If anybody was going to succeed in crypto, these are the guys that I'd love to see succeed. So come on, sis. You can do it. You can do it.
All right, let's give the wheel another spinneroo here and see what.
And then, of course, talking about extensions, if we lose these lows, you can start to see where the extension levels come in. And there's that original breakout level down in there, right? All right, sorry, I threw another thing in there. Sorry about that.
We got Bella, B-E-L-A.
Oh, that thing's been going crazy.
Yeah, Bella face ripped the other day, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can buy that right now. Problem with these Polo only coins is I've got the majority of my stake on Bitterix, so I don't really take a lot of positions on Polo. And Polo is a funny environment. Because they have the margin and all that, you can get this just insanity here. These poor people, oh my goodness, right? You can just imagine how many kids were thinking, all right, this is gonna change my life, and they're just getting destroyed here. It's just heartbreaking. So, everybody watching this damn video, excuse my French, our number one objective is to stop you guys from buying into markets that look like this. Just please, don't do it. Don't do it anymore, right? That's the value out of this show, is to just try and, impart just some really simple messages to save you money. Now, if you did want to buy into this, and you can imagine how many sell half on a doubles kind of there would be here, right? I mean, this is the end of the run, not the beginning. So, if we did want to buy into a story like this, and gee whiz, can you imagine if we did the parking garage here? Oh boy. If anything, this too far, too fast kind of talk, this is a little concerning. I also don't like the fact that it's only traded on Polo, which leaves you very inflexible. It's interesting why would Polo would list them like that, how they do that. I'm not quite sure of that.
I don't know. Do you know anything about Bella, Alex? Or Steve?
As far as I know, it's like Instagram, but it's like incentivized in a similar way like Steam it is. You get paid to comment, you get paid to post, all that stuff. So I don't know much more than that, like diving into the specifics of how they're doing it, but that's the general premise of it's a social media platform that's incentivized.
All right. Well, if we just do our simple reload zones, I don't even think we can even entertain the idea of buying until we at least get down into here. So you can see that it's starting to take a lot of that back. For the traders out there, I think that this tail here is probably your cue to watch. In essence, if we talk about our institutional fingerprint concept, somebody came along here. You can see this was a ranging market and people were shorting against the top of the range, and then it started dumping, and somebody stepped in here and said, no more down. Whoops, if I can draw. Right? Somebody said right through here, right, you stop going down, you start going up now. So that tells me that somebody has got a vested interest in defending this candle, this tail right in here. I suppose you could argue same logic against these lows and against these lows. So in essence, your buying zone, what a coincidence, just seems to be setting up off of the old line in the sand. And, interestingly enough, those are some old breakout levels. So, if you did want to trade this, swing trade, off of the lower time frames, I think, at the very, just got to be nice and patient. Just let this thing play out. Fact, hello. What do we have? Holy shit, look at that, eh? There's a fucking hole in the charts here. Can you see that?
Ooh.
It's just sitting there. There's a hole that's basically told you exactly, where it needs to revisit to clean all this up. So, our institutional fingerprint, well, we even have a nice juicy gap sitting in there. And what's interesting, M's and W's, you can really see the battle that went on right in here, right? There was a wicked war right here. So I think, smart money, all that kind of stuff, that's probably where they're going to try and defend. And notice this tail here, it comes up right against this level here. Gee whiz, is that another gap right there? Oh, yeah, look at that. So you can see there's also another gap that needs to be filled in right there. So now we're starting to get an idea. We have reload zones. We have your institutional fingerprint. We've got some gaps to fill in. So long and short of it, here we are just floating around here out in space. I think you just got to be patient and disciplined and wait for it to work its way back into here. That would be my 2 cents.
Now, Brian, with regards to the gap.
Oh, sorry. Can I chime in quick? Somebody just chimed in on Coinigy Slack, and they said the gaps were when the wallet was frozen, apparently.
Okay, so
I don't know. So in your opinion, Brian, we know the reason for that gap, but even if we know the reason, it's still a gap, right?
Yeah. It's still, in fact, the fact that is a fundamental catalyst around that event leads me to believe that there was some indecision around that event. And at some point, the market will want to revisit that just to confirm that, yep, indeed, this was seriously the bottom. Does that make sense?
Yeah. My other question for you, Brian, with regards to gap is time frame. Like if you go to lower time frames, you eventually start seeing more gaps just due to the nature that these coins don't trade every second.
That's right.
So is there like a certain kind of threshold for looking for gaps in the chart? Like I know right now you're on the hourly and that's a fairly reasonable candle length, but if you go to 15 minutes or even 1 minute, you can see gaps everywhere.
Well, and one might argue that all of those gaps will need to be filled in. Right? The fact that that liquidity isn't there is a testament to sort of indecision in the marketplace. And at some point, the market will want to go back and clean all that area up. I think it makes more sense that we get more validity out of our signals the higher time frame we go. So, if you see gaps on 1 minute chart, well, maybe take them with a grain of salt. If you see a gap on a daily chart, that's a fairly significant event, right? Mm-hmm. I think if anything, I would say just use your time frame as a scale of relevance. But at the same time, and here's the key, right? If you're working off like a 5 minute chart and you know that there's gaps down here, is it likely that they're going to leave gaps that will need to be filled in the future on the way down, coming down to clean this up? Sure. That happens all the time. And I can even see right now, the irony of it all is I can sort of tell you exactly where this thing wants to come back to in the future. You guys see this little gap that they left right here?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, and you've heard me say wicks and tails like to be eaten, right? So we can see that this is a battle zone in the future. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. And, for those people that are watching this and eventually will bottom, and maybe it's a saucer bottom, maybe it's an extremely violent bottom, but I can absolutely tell you that is going to be a major resistance level there at some point in the future. So I hope that helps. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah. No, it definitely goes to show, the higher time frames you work on, usually the more true technical analysis you can do. Like it's
There's really a function of liquidity, right? If you go to the ES, right, and it's trading like the fucking wind, right? 1 minute charts, they're relevant. If you go down to very illiquid altcoins and you look at a 1 minute or 5 minute chart, it's just a mess, right? I mean, it's pretty much useless data.
Now, someone in the chat just posted about Factum, and I pulled up the chart, and I think I might have found a little gap here, Brian.
Okay, that FCT or FTC, I can never remember what.
FCT.
All right, and where do we want to look? And keep in mind whether we're looking at Polo or whether we're looking at BitterX can be a huge difference.
Yeah, so, I'm on Polo at the moment, but I see a little gap right here around September 16th. I don't know.
September, way back when. What time frame are you on? Daily?
I'm on the 1 day. So
okay.
The candle itself is September 20th.
Oh, so up here? What are you talking about? Up top here?
Yeah, right about there. That little doji there.
Yeah, okay.
That was a gap.
Yep. And this is interesting because bar chart people would not consider this a gap, but candlestick people do consider this a gap. I'm more of a candlestick type person. I would consider that a gap, but I do know that bar chart people wouldn't be too thrilled with that. Bar chart people, they want to literally see, don't show me any trading between the spaces. For candlestick people, of course, the gaps are defined by the bodies. But, I can understand that at some point price might come right back up into this area and tag this, and really it kind of makes sense. The message that I have, kind of like what you're seeing on Dash, I wouldn't be surprised. Can you see the similarities here, guys? I mean, yeah. I know Alex likes Factum. And I remember when this originally came out and people were laughing and joking. And I was saying, you know what? The fact that they did this on the first bar means that price is probably going to go back up and eat that damn wick. And sure enough, that's
exactly and look what happened.
Right? But talking about Dash, can you see the similarities?
Yeah, sure do. There's definitely kind of this.
Would it be shocking to see price come back up and test the top end of the range? Not at all. Not at all. I would also say, too, you should really focus in on through all the price action through here and see if there are any gaps we can use as targets to the downside. All right? I don't know whether you guys have done that. And of course, nobody wants to look at downside targets, right? No, I'm a bull. I'm a bull. Damn it. Oh, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Does everybody see this gap?
Oh.
Ooh, she's a beaut.
Right? Just sitting there. Look how this gap here, they filled it in, right? That's what we need to see. We need to see a candle body come in and trade open close through that range to fill it in. So what have we basically said here? And check this out, guys. This will make you sick to your stomach. If we do reload zones, right? Let's even go off the entire range. What a coincidence. There's our little gappy gap, and there's the line in the sand. And then if we did a reload zones going back up, all right, there's the reload zone. And where the hell's the gap? Look at the gap. Right fucking in there. Do you see that? Do you think this is an accident? I don't. You see what I'm getting at, guys?
Yep.
And everybody watching this video, the worst part about price action in the marketplace is people are like, oh, wow, look at that price, like what Dash is doing right now. Oh, look at that. Oh, no, this is insanity. It's total random walk. Fuck that shit. Most of this stuff is so telegraphed, and it's actually very predictable. That's the weird thing about capitalists is capitalists are actually extremely predictable. So go.
What about anarcho-capitalists?
I don't know what that is.
That's like every participator in these markets kind of throwing in a little anarchy.
That's the funny thing when it comes to money. and making money. All of a sudden, these anarchists all of a sudden become very predictable.
Right. That's the irony of it all, right? Everybody is. I mean, you know, I at least have the balls to admit I'm a capitalist at heart. You know, I believe in the decentralization, but I'm also a capitalist.
And that's the irony of it all, right? When I first got involved in this space, and it was just sort of the pure crypto enthusiast, and I'd go to like that Decentral and stuff like that, and I do my talks for Alex's audience, and I could see in some of their eyes they absolutely hate me. I could literally see it because I represent everything that they don't want, right? The whole point of decentralization: get rid of the man, break the system down, brand new, new world order. But what I find with people that are quote unquote trading and coming to crypto to trade is they're capitalists. You know, they want to make a buck, right? There was this one little young guy that I used to that I sort of took under my wing when I first did this program. And he was just the absolute perfect classic example of capitalist, right? Wrecked. What's the other one? What do you say when it FOMO, right? All that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like 1 month the guy's fucking loaded. Woo, look at me, I'm so smart. And then the next month, I destroyed my account, right? And all that, just back and forth, right? And it's just so funny. I mean, at the heart of this, probably most of the people watching this show are capitalists and they want to make money at this. And as a result, their behavior actually is quite predictable. Kind of a shame, but if you understand the rules and you understand what to look for, then you can start taking advantage of this stuff.
And regardless of your beliefs in terms of like politics and everything, greed still affects everyone the same.
Yeah, those two human emotions, right? That's the sad part about it, is it all comes down to those two words, fear and greed.
Yep.
Right? So anyway, and having a very healthy beard. Damn, those beards are sexy.
Yep, gotta have that male virility.
You guys are the fucking man. Sorry, I just looking down and I see those beards. Those are fucking man beards, man.
Yeah, I'm due for a trim.
No, you're awesome. Don't back away, man. I want bigger, more beard. You gotta have a beard.
I don't know,
Rodgers, right?
I think at this point, yeah. Can't throw a football nearly as well, but
all right. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off topic there. I just looked down and I saw the beard. I had to say something. So, all right. What do we want to do next, boys?
I got another wheel here, I think, in me. Yeah, let's see what we get on.
Fun here tonight? I hope so.
Oh yeah.
FIO. I'm not sure what FIO is. I'm gonna have to research this one quickly.
FIO. FIO.
If it's a new issue, unfortunately, I can't do it. Well, it's not even on Coinigy. FIO?
Huh.
Yeah, I'm not sure who suggested this one.
Looks like it's somebody's. I don't know.
No, that's not right.
Man, that's sick how those gaps line up with those reload zones perfectly. Jeez, it's incredible.
Yeah, someone in the YouTube chat was saying FCT and a triple RLZ. So
there is, I suppose there's this reload zone, and then we could probably do another one here to here. So that also lines up there. And then I think we could also probably do one off of here. So yeah, reload zone within a reload zone within a reload zone. I'm a little bit leery about this right here, but I can understand traders taking shots here and just risking against these lows. Yeah, the irony of it all is, risk reward. If you went, I don't necessarily see anything for me to buy here, but if you just simply risked against this tail and just maybe use that gap as a target, well, that's a 3-to-1 risk reward. What the hell? So I can understand guys taking shots here. I'm kind of thinking this gap here needs to be filled in, though.
By the way, thanks to Evan M in Coinigy chat, he said he thinks FIO should be FLO.
FLO. Yeah, FLO.
Yeah, probably.
FLO?
Yeah, a foreign coin, because I'm not finding anything on FIO.
All right, what do we got here? Well, it's got a lot of trade history. That's good to see. Nice weekly bottom in here. That's encouraging.
Peer-to-peer gaming.
How many are out? Oh, boy. 124 million. So it's pretty heavy. $678,000 market cap, so this thing ain't cheap. I could definitely see, buys against the bottom end of the range here and on these face rips. Probably my hunch is if this is a gaming coin, this is probably like some sort of in-game promotion or something like that. So if you are involved in this story, just simply watch for when these video game platforms are promoting these. That's where you're going to get your spikes to get your sell half on a double and all that kind of crap off. Right now, this is nothing really to get too excited about other than the fact that I would say, again, what I said earlier, half of our job when we do this show is just to get people to stop buying these face rips. Just don't buy them, right? And just be patient. And, here's a great example. Market works its way right down into a reload zone. And if you want to, just simply wait for some good-looking W's to come in and start hunting. It looks to me like the market tried to put in a floor here, a little bit of a pop after a new low, so no real W. Then it broke to a new low, tried to put in another little W in here. No real close up here, though, eh? See that? These little wicks, uppy, 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 but couldn't close up there. Then fell out of bed. I don't mind, like I said, I don't mind little old lady. People are like, well, you know what? This thing's gaining some traction, got a good fundamental story. I don't mind little old lady nibbles down in this area. Is this a pound the table? You got to buy this thing right now? Nothing really to get too excited about here. You kind of like what I'm seeing here, though. If we just go something like here to here to here to here to here, maybe we can get sort of like a nice little head and shoulders to develop, right? That would be kind of cool.
Hey, if I can chime in too, it just all came rushing back to me. So Florin Coin is basically part of Alexandria, which is basically, what was the name? Block Tech, I think. That was the company. Yeah, so it does basically have a use. It's kind of, I just went to their website again, and that's how I remembered it. But that's how I was re-educated on it, I guess. And they're saying that Florin Coin is used to be the index for the decentralized library of Alexandria.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
That like library credits, same sort of thing?
Yeah, similar concept, yeah.
All right. Okay, so on balance, it looks to me like the market is trying to accept this thing down here. Maybe that's a good sign. We know we had a nice little floor put in here. So with that said, like we said, it's not a terrible idea to take some little old lady nibbles. For those traders out there, I actually see, keep your eyes really peeled here because we might be forming an inside bar here today, right? If this closes out here, you might actually get a cute little buy signal, a nice little trade developing in here. And of course, if we do good old reload zones, yeah, we're basically down in an area where I can understand bottoms coming in. Little old lady, traders, not the best, but, we are coming into some support lines. Maybe use these lows as key support and just watch for some sort of reversal patterns. Then zoom down to the lower time frames. If you start getting things like divergences and stuff developing down here, it'd be really keep your eyes peeled. But if you're going to trade that and all that kind of stuff, if we break these lows, you better get the fuck out of there. So that's sort of what I see. Little old lady, 100 and some odd million out, a little bit heavy for my liking. But on balance, I could accept nibbles down here. It's not the end of the world.
Steve posted a great link here for the Alexandria.io website, and they got lots of information.
Wait, can I just ask a side question? Have you guys noticed that a lot of people around the world are moving towards this .io website?
Yeah, it's kind of the edgy tech website.
Is it? Like, I don't understand that. What's the difference between .io and .com?
One of them, you have a chance of actually buying a domain that you'd like, and the other one was bought up by domain squatters since 1997.
Yeah.
That's basically the only difference.
Really, that's the only difference. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. So this site, Steve, you put up a link to this site. Maybe throw that in the video and stuff for people to look at if they want. Does
Okay.
this also, is this also sort of the same vein?
I'll put it in chat.
You remember the game credits? Is that sort of the same kind of thing?
Well,
Or no, this is
to
library,
explain,
isn't it? This is different. I'm sorry.
to explain kind of simply how it works is along with transactions like, simple Bitcoin transactions, it allows you to put more information in with it. So like the first proof of concept that was built on Coin was actually storing tweets. So if you wanted your tweet to like be ingrained for eternity in a blockchain, you could use Coin. But then they realized they could use that as storage for a lot more like usable things. So they put these addresses in it that allow you to have like file locations, so you can kind of store file data in there, like torrents and stuff. So they're kind of building a front end for that, and they want to host music and do a bunch of other stuff, rights and whatnot. And that's why I say there's a lot of similarities to something like library. There's a lot of coins that are trying to attack the media portion of the internet. Like how can we do media differently online, and how can we kind of incentivize it and monetize it? So that's what
So the question I would have is, does it make any difference to the developers of this coin, the price of the coin?
I would say it becomes more affordable to use the network, the cheaper the coin is. So if anything, like they don't want it to be too overpriced. But that being said, right now I think it's it's only a couple hundred satoshis. It's like nothing. And right now, like I'm actually mining this one. I got one of my broken miners here with me because I got a grid seed here, and then I got one of the bigger ones that stopped working on me the other day. So my house is getting a little colder. But this type of like purpose-built hardware is what you use to mine this coin. So it uses the same hardware as Litecoin does. So you'll see that there's going to always be a lot of stability because there's a lot of pools that jump around. Like if this ever becomes really profitable, then people start mining it a lot more, and then it kind of gets dumped back down.
What's the latest and greatest with multi-pools? I honestly haven't mined in like 2 years, but
there's so many.
There's tons of them now. Yeah, I mean, like back in the day, there were maybe 2 or 3 when Rob and I were heavy into mining. So
well, it's just like an arbitrage bot. Like in the beginning, like a couple guys program it, they're the only ones. But now it's just kind of like an extra feature in Coinigy. It's just kind of like one of those things that once enough people get into the space, it's kind of something that exists. If there's any potential for profit, people usually exploit it right away, and then it becomes less profitable.
So, and might that be a way to decentralize the mining process? Guys like Will at Coinigy have those mining pools accessible to anybody.
I think it really creates like a more fair market for mining, or like it really establishes like what's the going rate for a specific type of miner.
It also indirectly creates liquidity because those miners, the vast majority of them are looking to just liquidate that stuff, or the majority of it, at some point. So
yeah, like
if you had these mining pools like set up through Coinigy where your site subscribers could just sort of be a part of that, they might not just dump right away then when they get paid out, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that we necessarily want to get into that side of the business, but
mining and the infrastructure is difficult. And there's so many different facets to it. So it creates a real marketplace for hash rate. Like right now, if we want more hash rate on Ubiq, it directly corresponds to price. So it's there will be pools and like kind of transient hash rate that just kind of switches over based on it being more profitable than like Ethereum. Sorry,
So
I'm
in a
getting
way,
off
though,
on
the high price, like we say in the market, the best cure for high prices is high prices.
tangent.
In a weird sort of way, that's sort of what's going to happen in crypto too, right? The best cure to solve the high price of an issue is to either have the developer come out and say, I don't want the price this high, or just to direct a whole bunch of miners at it, and that should drive the price back down, eh?
Yeah, because the cost of production goes up, more people liquidate to cover their costs, and then it gets sold back down.
All right. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there. I like to mine you guys. Through these shows. Okay.
Right,
simple message on flow. My is not bad. You're not buying into fluff, so it's not the end of the world if you went and did some nibbling.
Yeah,
Okay,
like I'm
what's
still
next?
holding my mine coins. I'm not, dumping them to pay my heating bills yet. So,
But would you have orders working up top to let those coins go though? That's the question, Alex.
yeah. Like I have maybe a couple orders working from I think what I've bought, but for my mine stash, I'm just kind of holding and waiting for more, I guess, information from Alexandria because right now it seems like they're working away really quietly. And that's actually probably one of the best times to buy is when you know the developers are working on something and there's a taste in the future. But yeah, right now there's no hype or anything that's really feeding the market. It's just kind of accumulation.
Yeah, and ironically enough, for investors, that's the best time to be interested, right? Because when the public starts talking about it, usually the story's over.
Can I jump in here and ask a quick question about Foreign Coin is using IPFS to do stuff, and I guess IPFS is working on like a file coin. So right now when you use IPFS, you can store media on the internet, like a decentralized web, rebuilding the web, and so they're trying to integrate their own coin with it. Do you know any sort of news with that, or any sort of updates with IPFS and Filecoin?
Well, IPFS is its own standard. As for like Filecoin using that standard, I don't know too much about Filecoin itself, but there's quite a few projects using the IPFS protocol as like a medium for storage or like as an organizational tool to store data. Like that's one of Ethereum's newest features is Swarm, where they're using IPFS to store data in the Ethereum chain. So it just kind of creates I guess it's an organizational tool. It's really what it comes down to. And a lot of different coins are trying to, integrate it and build unique ways of using it. And one of them will succeed, if not many of them, because data and content delivery and media, these are all things that kind of drive e-commerce.
So, in your opinion, Alex, do you think ETH is beyond the nonsense from this the fork and the DAO disaster and all that?
I don't think they're out of the woodworks quite yet. Like, I think that's in a lot of people's minds. They're definitely winning some of those back with this enterprise Ethereum, where they can say, you can use our great tech and not be, subject to any of our consensus. But at the same time, it's like you're still, well, one, it's not quite tested, so they could be subject to even more risk again with enterprise Ethereum. It's just like they're still innovating. Like there's still major changes coming to the Ethereum chains. So it's
okay. I just wanted to ask. I was curious. Yeah. I know I have one site member who's just like, "Fucking Ethereum is it bad?" Right? And I'm skeptical. Anytime a developer comes out and says he doesn't want the price of his coin too high, I got to be careful there, right? So I just
it's almost always disingenuous.
I don't know. All I know is it got its butt kicked there. It's trying to pick itself off the floor. Bless you. But it's done a very violent bottom, which often is very. We probably should throw the chart up here. It's trying to pick itself up off the floor. There's no doubt about that. Where are we here? ET.
Well, just on like kind of, I call it macroeconomics. Like I look at the year 2017 for Ethereum is going to probably be very similar to Bitcoin's 2015 or 2015, because what you had is a shitload of ICOs in like 2014 for Bitcoin, like large ones like MaidSafe and Ethereum, all these multi-million-dollar ICOs that raised a shitload of Bitcoin. All of that had to be sold at some point to cover their costs. Now you have the same thing happening directly in Ethereum, where you have all these multi-million-dollar ICOs taking in Ether, and they're all Ether rich, but they have to sell it to cover their costs. Well, they're not going to push new all-time highs when you have all these projects that are holding multi-million-dollar amounts of Ether.
Right.
So they're going to probably,
when you have a $2,500 server bill that you have to cash out every single month, something like that. So.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's probably going to be a longer stretch here. Like, I don't want to, commit to anything too crazy, because Ether is innovating a lot and there's lots to be excited about. But at the same time, like, there's a shitload of, Ether to be sold. Like, the more they push out, the more it's going to. How
many are out on this thing?
Oh, it changes every day and it's hard to keep
Whoa.
track.
Well, 89 million. That's not the end of the world. Jesus, $1.5 billion. Christ.
No, it's a big economy, right? Like, and now it's got all these subset tokens on it, like all these kind of companies in themselves that are bigger than most coins are, that are built on top of Ethereum. So, like, if you looked at all the Ethereum projects and Ethereum's market cap combined, you'd probably get a figure that's well over $2 billion.
Just crazy.
What's cool though, check this out, drive you crazy. I mean, it's just nuts. After a while, it almost gets funny, right? I mean, it's so cliche. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe you don't see the humor in that. I see it. It makes me laugh when I see this stuff.
No, like, I look at this as like $300 Bitcoin, or maybe like $250 Bitcoin. Like, it's going to stay in this channel for a little while. I don't see it breaking out.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, and I tend to agree. I don't see Ethereum going away really anytime soon.
Well,
So.
I suppose we could just simply argue, probably you can see all these lows in here, right? That's probably major resistance right in that area. But ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy has to work his way back up into here. But new highs, I think you're going to run into a huge amount of traffic up in this area up in here. So. But anyway, hats off to Michael, our site member. He actually put his neck in the noose and said, I am a super bull in here. So hats off, Michael. You're getting paid.
It's not a bad place. No, like, there's worse places to buy.
That's right. I mean, again, my site people that have taken my course and stuff, when they see down markets, they start getting really interested in buying, right? Very complete opposite of what the public does. So again, our big purpose in these shows is just to, cool your jets through these kind of moves, right? Just let the market clean itself up. You'd be surprised how much money that can save you, public. And I'm talking to you, public. All right. We want to look at any other coins while you got me here tonight?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Yeah, I got time for one more. And there she goes. XEM.
XEM?
Not sure what this one is. XEM.
It rings a bell.
Oh.
I think it has something to do with NEM.
Yeah, NEM is the name. So what the hell is NEM then?
I hate these ones. That's not that name coin, is it?
No.
I think here is a really good example, guys, of a market that just goes up too far, too fast. And odds are it's probably going to have to come its way or work its way right back down. Now, I mean, it's encouraging. You can see the original floor that was put in. They brought the price right back to that level in there. It'd be interesting to see if they did any financings or any deals or anything.
Yeah, it's nem.io. Oh, it looks like Alice has it open already. Sorry.
Okay.
Carry on.
I would just simply say, it sure looks to me like they're trying to, hold the floor down in here. If it loses that floor, then this is one of these air pockets like cis, right? Where we could just dip right down in here. And these percentages losses just get ridiculous. So I suppose one could argue, you know, horizontal support and resistance. We came down into a traffic area against the original. You know, hopefully you guys see, like, if you ever hear me like pound the table, you got to buy this thing, right? It's going to be off of a powerful W like this kind of thing, right? Do we have that yet? You can see it tried to. I would have really liked to have seen a nice serious test of this area in here. It's working its way up, but my hunch is we're running into traffic here. So it almost looks to me just on first blush. Yeah, see that? See this kilo here and that high there and that high there. That's pretty much the top of your range for the time being. And if you wanted to buy, I would probably just, you know, oh, look at that. So you can see the reload zone line in the sand is right against all these levels, and that's the original double bottom level. Be interesting to see if there were any gaps in here that needed filling. Oh, look at that. Motherfucker. You guys see this? Hey, everybody watching
Oh, I'm
this
seeing
video.
it right in the middle there.
Right there. You see that?
Oh, I was looking at the one to the left on the red candles.
I can't tell whether there's a gap down here or not. There might be. Oh, there is. Look at that. Cheeky buggers. Right down in here. All right. So we're actually getting some levels jumping out at us here, right? Where did I? Oh, that's a funny one there. Eh? And then there also looks like, so there's a lot of unfinished business in this range in here. So yeah, if you're going to work your bids, I like the idea of, you know, trying to sneak in through this area in here. I sure hope there aren't any gaps down here. Let's see. Looks fairly clean, eh? So that's good. Yeah. Okay. So, you know, after this face rip, you could almost argue that they literally, before the face rip, you could have said, well, okay, it looks like I know exactly where they're going to bring the market back to when this face rip is done. And that's exactly what they did. Look how they did that. Just so nice and orderly, eh? So this is one reason why I love to work, you know, stink bids at gaps and stuff. Sometimes you get this kind of action. I think, you know, it'd be interesting just to see what number is that. Let's say 310. So you can see those guys that bought the gap, they got a double. You see that? So that's basically like free money to them. So they're sitting on free coins off of this rally. And really, if they wanted to, they could back it up into this zone again here and reload again. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And again, like we said, if you're margin trading, leverage trading, right, and they lose these lows, especially with this really ugly candle tail down in here, I could very easily see the bottom just fall out of this thing back down to the original support lines here. So, you know, maybe, you know, if you're a trader, really drill down lower time frames, really hunt for momentum divergences, structure down in this area, risk against these lows. If they fail, just get the fuck out. Investors, I don't know. I think maybe you got to let this thing settle down a little bit more. I would like to see just a nice sort of sauce or bottom develop here kind of thing, right? That's what we know that this thing would be cleaned up. So, you know, maybe does something like this kind of thing, right? That's what we'd like to see. So, you know, a great testament, too far, too fast. I had to literally give it all back, which sucks. You hate to see that.
Just checking out their website, like it seems like they're innovative enough. Like they've written something brand new from scratch.
Yeah, take a look at proof of importance and tell me how you interpret that.
Yeah, it sounds like proof of stake with more features, or
right, like proof of stake with some clever wording.
Yeah, and then they call it their own. So yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that. The one thing I want to know is it says their entire supply of 9 billion coins were created during the Genesis block, so no more will be made. So it's kind of like NXT, where it's proof of stake, but all the coins are distributed. So the only reward you get for staking is fees. So you can see in the block explorer here, there's a lot of blocks with no reward. and yeah, so to run it, like, I don't know, it just seems like there's a lot of things that would lead to centralization, and
This kind of scares me. Right?
oh, and I want to know how are these 9 billion coins distributed? Was there an ICO? Were they airdropped? Like, I need to look into it more, but yeah, I want to know more about the supply of it. But yeah, anyone who attempts to do something from scratch, I think that clearly has some value. Like, that means they're not dummies. These guys they built some clean stuff here, at least from their websites. Shows.
Question is, are they, did they lighten up top here? Are the developers even long this name anymore? It seems like a hell of a big run up there.
Yeah.
Like if you talk about pump coins, pumps and stuff like that, to me, that looks very pumpy.
Yeah, I think I need to find out more of, like, how was this distributed? Because
someone in chat just said there was an ICO and not much was raised.
So exactly like NXT. This is NXT 2.0, or well, I guess 3.0, since there is already a 2.0.
After looking at the proof of importance, it seems like it's like a proof of stake, but they also include like the transactional the use. So if somebody has coin and they use the coin, that gives them, that's how they do the proof of importance. So it's kind of an interesting twist on proof of stake to reward those who use the network as well as those who have who maintain a large balance.
Be really interesting. Do you see any sort of news releases? What happened right in here? And it looks like it was June of last year. Was there any sort of big public announcement, some sort of development, was that the ICO? What happened right in here? And what is the fundamental drivers around all of these lows? So all of you investors who are really interested in this name, really explore what was going on through this bottoming process, and is that still valid?
Yeah, I'd have to spend a while reading back. Their Twitter feed's got lots of nice infographics, though.
Well, whoever it was who asked us to look at this coin, right? If you're gonna, if you're interested in this, you want to really know what the hell's going on. Clearly, whoever put the floor in here, obviously they came back, right? And they bounced it off of that level. So who is it that took a position in here? What was the story, right?
Looking at the most recent news, I see something from Chrono Bank, which is, I think, a Ethereum coin that kind of tries to capture like an hourly wage. I think if I'm thinking of the right one. So, each Chrono Bank token, I forget what they call it, is equivalent to like an hourly pay of somebody. And there's some sort of connection with NEM.
Oh, interesting.
They partnered with them, so that's kind of that happened early this month. So
all right, so in our little sort of Fibinator here, if you are interested in this, I don't think it should shock us. Reload zone's basically down in that area. If you believe in this story, whatever the hype was around this, the promotion, whatever, that's the area to take your shot. I think that makes sense. But at the same time, me just on first blush, my hunch is this thing's going to take some time to saucer. So.
Good deal.
Right.
Well, on that note, should we wrap it up, boys?
Yeah.
It's about that time.
I love the sound of my own voice. I could talk all night.
Oh, we know, Brian. We know.
Oh, thanks.
Just giving you shit.
I haven't seen too many Alex eyebrow lifts today, so we're not doing.
He must be tired. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I always know when I talk too long because Alex starts to zone out and he's looking at the paint on the wall.
I think he did fall asleep at one time, but that was like when we used to do the show later.
Yeah, I was getting up earlier. No.
Yeah.
All right.
I
hope the audience, the public, you got good value out of what I contributed tonight. I just tried my best. I gave you my honest opinion of what I saw. So.
Good deal. Appreciate it. So I'll get my plug in first, and then you guys can get your plugs in. How's that sound? So first and foremost, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hey, our channel just hit 2,000 subscribers the other day. That's pretty awesome. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, we're not at PewDiePie levels or anything yet, but doing okay. So that's pretty cool.
Look at it. It's incredible how many people come out of the craziest places. Hey, I was watching your Cordigy show. Hey, and we're actually starting to get a female audience, which kind of scares me a little bit. But it just goes to show that we are penetrating this market. So that's good.
Had to use that word, didn't you? Anyways, so Brian, if people want to, I'll segue. Where can people find you on the web, Brian?
Oh, all right. Okay, let's get Brian out of here. All right, so who am I? I'm Brian Beamish. People on the net call me the Rational Investor, CR Investor. If you want to, probably a good way for you just to get to know who I am, just simply follow me on Twitter. And, I'm constantly interacting with the public and throwing my 2 cents out there. So it's kind of fun to follow me along in all my crazy rants. We do run a website called therationalinvestor.co. We do daily brief videos that are about a half hour long. They're a lot of fun. And of course I'm trading away. In fact, what's really interesting lately is I've just been buying like crazy. All of these names, all off of the bottoms. I'm just buying. I love this stuff. And it's interesting because, 6-8 months ago, I wasn't buying anything. So it's quite remarkable how much buying I'm doing recently. We also run a trader education program. So by all means, if you are interested in learning to approach the market from a professional perspective and just get to know a little bit about yourself and what type of investor you are and how to set yourself up for success, you might want to consider our program that starts up, next term starts up in May. And feel free to pop by the site. You can read up on everything that we do and all the different summaries and testimony from other students. So that's who I am, Brian Beamish, therationalinvestor.co. And if you want to follow me on Twitter @CRInvestor. So there you go. That's my spiel.
Alex, Steve?
Someone? You don't want Brian to keep talking, do you?
I know I was just enthralled in the chat. I don't know. People are talking about Tucker and Dale versus Evil in the chat for some reason.
So if you want to find me, I'm block_talk on Twitter is my show. Block Talk on YouTube, youtube.com/blocktalk. My most recent interview was with an ICO on Ethereum right now, Legends Room. It's basically a timeshare strip club membership. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. A bunch of UFC guys are
strip club memberships.
Yeah, so if you want to go to the VIP room in this luxurious club in Vegas, you need to own this $5,000 membership. But it's a completely liquid token that you can sell at any time. So it'll be really interesting when you have fundamental events in the market like a UFC match or the adult film awards or something. So yeah, kind of cool concept. Check it out. Stephan Bonner, he's a UFC fighter, was on the show too. So yeah, very cool stuff.
Or is it, you have to transfer it only?
I think you have to prove ownership. You have to like sign for it. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing some follow-up with some of those interviews. I remember, I can't just off the top of my head, and we're supposed to wind this up, but there were some really interesting interviews you've done over the past couple of years. I wouldn't mind what's happened to those people. So. Yeah,
it's time to start churning them through again and catching up.
I want to see the cabbage guy follow up.
Cabbage is back. They're tweeting again.
I remember one guy that you just tore an absolute strip out of. It was so funny watching it. But anyway, that's here nor there. I should shut up. You guys are supposed to be doing your promos.
All right. So I'm Steve Anderson. I do work at Coinigy. Also, I do have a podcast called The Blockchain Show. So you can find me at wherever you podcast. Just do a search for blockchain, and I'll probably be one of the few podcasts that you can find.
Okay.
Simple.
Is there like a Twitter address or something for you?
Yeah, probably the Twitter is The Blockchain Show, I imagine.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Fucking finding me. That's half the challenge, is just trying to find me.
Yeah, it's the thrill of the hunt.
everybody has their own like favorite podcasting thing, and it's if you listen to podcasts, you have like what you use, whether it's iHeartRadio or iTunes or Google Play.
Podcast Addict. That's what I use.
So there's really no. That's where you can find me. Whatever you're on, we're there. If you YouTube it, we're on YouTube too. So
yeah, don't bother Steve on Twitter. Just go. He's got work to do at Coinigy. So just go check it out on your podcast app.
I wonder what my Twitter is.
All right. Okay. Well, on that note, I think I'm going to say. Oh, did you find it?
Yeah, blockchain_show.
There you go.
Awesome.
Did we have fun tonight, guys?
We did.
I always have so much fun.
Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And I'll look directly at the camera instead of at my monitor and say
bye, everybody.
Bye. Happy trails.
All right, bye for now.
Merry Christmas.